Alongside the physical, technical and tactical demands of sport, we mustn't neglect the fact that participation in youth sport places several psychological demands on young athletes. Whether you're in an individual sport where everything's down to you and the audience are watching at every move, and yet there's no coaching, there's no substitutes, often no timeouts, it's you who have to deal with things when things go wrong. Or you could be in a team sport where you're challenging for selection or trying to protect your place in a team. And yet, when you make a mistake, it can be costly to the whole team itself, and maybe having to deal with some of the comments and criticism from teammates. In both these types of sports, the margins between winning and losing can be quite narrow. And yet, it's therefore vital to be able to learn from the process of competing and competition itself. So we know that sport challenges athletes with these psychological demands and therefore demands several mental strengths. There are several areas where we feel that parents can have the greatest impact in facilitating and helping a child to develop their mental strengths. The first of these is helping them to enhance their sense of self-esteem, promoting the value and worth that they place upon themselves as a human being in life in general. And this is not just within a sport itself. Can you help them to promote a sense of self-esteem through their academic work, through introducing them to a range of other activities, social activities, volunteering, etc. So their self-esteem isn't simply based upon sport, or isn't certainly simply based upon performance in their sport. We find that athletes who have a higher level of self-esteem based upon their self-concept in terms of academics, in terms of their social skills, their emotional skills, their ability to connect with other people. We find that those individuals who have self-esteem globally across those areas are more robust and are able to manage the demands of the sport, the inevitable ups and downs and disappointments that can happen in one of those domains, including sport. Parents can help their children with their confidence levels. Confidence is an important mental attribute or a mental state for a child to experience. We want young people in sport to be able to compete with demonstrating a positive body language and a physical presence within competition. We want them to stay involved in the game, even if time's running out and the team are losing. The more confident players are the ones who will stay involved and stay engaged in the heat of battle. We want to try and encourage that in young people. We want them to be able to persist in the face of mistakes or adversity. And we also want them to be able to stretch their skills, to be able to make brave decisions and approach challenges. So they're taking things on in ways that over the long term will help them to develop. So it's important as a parent that you help a child to understand that sometimes confidence fluctuates. You're not always going to be confident and high in self-belief all the time. Because sport in and of itself is I guess, a fantastic arena or domain to participate in, because there's always that sense of uncertainty that exists in sport and in sporting competitions. So always try to encourage a child to approach challenges, even if they don't feel as confident as they might. But more importantly, begin to emphasize the strengths that they have and to recognize the strengths that they have. So they are reminded that you value them and that you socially support them. And of course, make sure you jump on improvements and jump on the progress that they make. Because to actually hear from you that you've noticed accomplishments from them and remind them of those helps them to actually feel a sense of confidence going into that competition. Stress is a natural part of sport, and therefore managing stress is an important indicator of mental strength. Young people can experience emotions for the first time in sport when they're reaching certain levels, particularly anxiety, for example, other emotions such as anger, but particularly anxiety, symptoms of nervousness and worry. And it's important to help young people to be able to manage and cope and understand these symptoms that they may experience for the first time. One of the things that parents, or roles that parents can play, is to help understand that anxiety is normal and natural as a phenomenon in sport, helping a child to accept that it's actually a sign that they care about their participation, they care about their performance, they care about working hard for their teammates in a team situation. So to accept it as something natural that's of relevance to them. But there's also other ways in which you can help them to manage anxiety and nervousness symptoms, to help them to reduce some of the nervousness by using simple breathing techniques, which will help them to manage their time and try to give them a sense of calm, maybe at a critical moment before a performance or before an event. There are many different relaxation strategies that you can introduce or make your child aware of, and we just encourage you to make your child aware of the different relaxation, breathing and meditation or mindfulness techniques that exist that might well help them to manage these emotions that they'll inevitably face when they're participating in sport. The quality of a young athlete's motivation is critical in sport, because when a young athlete has a high quality of motivation, then it influences positively their levels of enjoyment in sport. And enjoyment is critical in terms of both their retention and participation in sport in the long term. So it's vital that parents work hard to help to influence the quality of motivation that a young person has. Now, when we talk about motivation, we're really obviously looking at an individual who demonstrates consistent levels of effort and values it unconditionally through the course of a training session or the course of a match. So they're working hard at the start of a game, they're working hard at the end of a game unconditionally. They're also an individual who persists in the face of mistakes or failure, who keeps going. Importantly, they're an individual who achieves this because they value and have an inherent value placed upon their own progress and their own self-improvement on a day-to-day, match-by-match, training session by training session basis. That's how they conceive success, how they view what achievement is to them, beyond the result, beyond winning and losing. Therefore, as a parent, it's vital that you set the tone by the language that you use with athletes in terms of how you view success and failure and what you value in terms of indicating success and failure. You set the climate around a young person by asking questions around: did you enjoy the match? How did you perform? Did you improve? Did you actually get a chance to improve that skill or practice that skill you've been working on? Or do you use language such as did you win? How come you lost to him, for example, would be a negative example, which would send a message to the child about how you view success and failure and what's important to you as a parent. So as a parent, the language you use around effort, around progress, around improvement is critical in creating the ways in which an individual will value achievement, or value the ways in which achievement can be achieved or felt. There's a premium placed upon the quality of a young athlete's concentration in performance, or sometimes we use the term focus. And in essence, this is really about ensuring that an athlete is able to focus on the right things at the right time. So when it comes to their performance, they're in the present moment, their mind is clear and not distracted by other things that are going on in their world or in their life, maybe in schoolwork, etc. So one of the roles that parents can play here is helping the child athlete to be able to improve their preparation for training or their preparation for competition by making sure that they aren't distracted, they'll be able to switch off from other distractions or other activities that have been part of their day. Maybe even reassuring to them, look, I know you can switch off from your schoolwork now. We know your sport's important to you, so it's okay for you to switch off. We can help you to switch back on afterwards. So helping the child to feel it's okay to switch off from other areas of life that you might value. That helps them to get their head in the right place for training and competition with the coach. So please try to attend to maybe some of the routines and some of the habits that you can introduce to your child in terms of when mealtime happens, when their schoolwork is switched off and they start preparing for training, so they're ready. And so when they actually enter the arena or enter the training environment, they're completely focused on their sport and not distracted by something else. That's a key role that you can begin to play with your child.